Welcome to my channel, Value Old Coins. Here you'll find videos about rare, valuable, and interesting coins from around the world. Watch the videos, learn about coin history, coin values, and unique facts you won't find anywhere else. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to support the channel. It really helps us grow and bring you even more amazing coin content. Thanks for watching. Let's get started. The 1994 P United States half dollar, commonly referred to as a 1994 Kennedy half dollar, stands as both a circulating coin and a symbolic reminder of one of America's most poignant eras of national remembrance. Struck by the Philadelphia Mint, identified by the P mint mark located just below the bust of President John F. Kennedy on the obverse, this coin continues a series that began in 1964, just months after Kennedy's tragic assassination. Its design, enduring for decades, carries not only the likeness of a beloved leader but also the story of a nation's resilience, idealism, and evolution in coinage. The obverse of the coin bears a striking portrait of John Fitzgerald Kennedy, the 35th President of the United States, facing left. This image was created by Gilroy Roberts, the chief engraver of the U.S. Mint at the time, and is based on the official presidential medal that Roberts had designed during Kennedy's presidency. The portrait is detailed and dignified. Kennedy's youthful features, his confident gaze, and his neatly combed hair symbolize vigor and hope, ideals that were central to his public persona. Encircling the top rim of the obverse are the proud words "Liberty," symbolizing the American promise of freedom. Beneath Kennedy's neck truncation appears the enduring national motto, "In God We Trust," split across two lines, while below, the year 1994 marks its minting date. The P mint mark, denoting the Philadelphia Mint, appears above a year or near the truncation line depending on the die variation, confirming its origin on the U.S. East Coast. Turning to the reverse, designed by Frank Gasparro, another renowned chief engraver of the U.S. Mint, the coin proudly displays the presidential seal of the United States, an intricate and heraldic image that symbolizes national unity and power. The central motif features a bold heraldic eagle, its wings outstretched in defense and vigilance. In its beak, the eagle holds a flowing ribbon inscribed with the motto E pluribus unum, Latin for out of many, one, representing the federal union formed by diverse states. In its right talon, the eagle grips an olive branch, a classical emblem of peace, while in its left it holds a bundle of arrows, denoting readiness to defend that peace if necessary. Surrounding the eagle are 55-point stars, one for each state in the Union, arrayed in a circular pattern of unity. Encircling this noble design are the inscription United States of America at the top and half dollar at the bottom, denoting its denomination. The overall symmetry and balance of this design make it one of the most majestic reverses in modern American coinage. In terms of metal composition, by 1994, the Kennedy half dollar had long ceased to contain silver for circulation issues. From 1971 onward, these coins were struck in cupronickel-clad composition, consisting of an outer layer of 75% copper and 25% nickel bonded to a core pure copper. The total weight of the coin is 11.34 grams, with a diameter of 30.6 millimeters and a reeded edge, giving it a distinctive tactile and visual texture. The clad composition gives the coin its characteristic silver-gray sheen, durable yet economical for circulation. The 1994 Philadelphia issue had a substantial mintage of approximately 23,718,000 coins, reflecting continued, though limited, production primarily for collectors and mint sets rather than everyday commerce. By the 1990s, half dollars were seldom seen in daily transactions, as their use in circulation had declined sharply after the early 1970s. The minting process for the 1994 P half dollar involved advanced press technology and improved die maintenance at the Philadelphia Mint, ensuring sharp strikes and consistent surface quality. However, some coins exhibit minor die polishing marks, bag abrasions, or light contact marks, typical of bulk handling. Coins struck for collectors, especially those preserved in mint sets, often display strong luster and excellent detail. Uncirculated, improved versions were made with meticulous care, and the Philadelphia coins, when found in high grades such as MS-66 or MS-67, are particularly sought after by numismatists for their aesthetic perfection. Historically, the Kennedy half dollar series is deeply intertwined with American memory. Its introduction in 1964 was a direct and emotional response to President Kennedy's assassination in November 1963. Within mere months, Congress approved the design change to honor his legacy, replacing the Franklin half-dollar. The coin immediately became a cherished memento rather than a mere medium of exchange. Americans hoarded them as keepsakes, driving the series' popularity but also its absence from circulation. By 1994, 30 years after its debut, the Keenedy half-dollar remained a staple of collectors' albums and proof sets, a tradition that kept the design alive long after it vanished from cash registers. From a numismatic perspective, the 1994p Keenedy half-dollar is not considered rare, yet it holds enduring interest. Circulated examples are common and inexpensive, while uncirculated mint state specimens or proof-like examples from mint sets exhibit appealing eye appeal and command modest premiums. Its value depends greatly on condition. Circulated coins generally trade for face value, while high-grade certified pieces can fetch several dollars, especially in MS-67 or higher grades with strong luster and clean surfaces. Proof issues from the San Francisco Mint, bearing the S Mint mark, in contrast, often attract collectors for their mirror-like fields and frosted details. The cultural significance of the Keenedy half-dollar extends beyond numismatics. It embodies the spirit of the early 1960s, an era defined by optimism, scientific progress, and social change. Kennedy's visage on the coin evokes memories of the new frontier, the space race, and a youthful vision for America's future. Even in 1994, the coin carried emotional weight. For many Americans, it was a link to a president whose life was cut short but whose ideal continued to inspire. Over time, the 1994p half-dollar has also become a symbol of a transitional period in U.S. coinage, a time when traditional circulating coins gave way to collector-oriented issues. While its face value remains 50 cents, its historical and sentimental value surpasses its monetary worth. Collectors who study the Kennedy series often see the 1994 issue as part of Continuum, a piece connecting the early 1960s to the modern era, bridging decades of design stability and cultural resonance. In conclusion, the 1994p Kennedy half-dollar represents far more than just another entry in the Mint's annual production. It is a coin that unites art, history, and remembrance, a metallic tribute to leadership, legacy, and American identity. With its enduring design, precise craftsmanship, and symbolic depth, it continues to hold a place of quiet dignity in both personal collections and the broader tapestry of U.S. numismatic history. The 1973p United States half-dollar, commonly known as the 1973 Kennedy half-dollar, is one of the enduring representatives of modern American coinage and a continuation of a design that was born from national mourning, remembrance, and reverence. This particular coin was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, identified by the P Mint mark, though it is worth noting that the Philadelphia Mint did not use a mint mark on circulating half-dollars until 1980, meaning that the 1973 Philadelphia issue actually bears no mint mark. Thus, when numismatists refer to the 1973p issue, they are speaking of the Philadelphia-struck coin distinguished by the absence of any letter below the truncation of the president's neck. This half-dollar carries a famous portrait of John Fitzgerald Kennedy, the 35th President of the United States, and stands as both a circulating piece and a lasting memorial to one of the most charismatic and tragic figures in American history. By 1973, the Kennedy half-dollar had already been a decade-long fixture of American numismatic tradition, having first been struck in 1964, mere months after Kennedy's assassination in November 1963. The series' endurance into the 1970s reflected the continued admiration for the late president, and the coin had become as much a cultural symbol as a monetary instrument. The obverse design of the 1973 half-dollar was created by Gilroy Roberts, who at the time of its inception was chief engraver of the U.S. Mint. His portrait of President Kennedy was adapted from a presidential medal he had designed during Kennedy's lifetime, capturing the youthful vitality, confidence, and composure that defined the president's image. Kennedy's profile face is left, his hair neatly sculpted in high relief, embodying the new frontier optimism of early 1960s America. Above his head arcs the word liberty, a core American value and the guiding principle of its coinage, while the motto "In God We Trust" appears in two lines at the base of the portrait, a declaration of faith and national character. The date 1973 is centered below the truncation of the bust, and the designer's initials GR for Gilroy Roberts are subtly placed on the truncation of Kennedy's neck. Unlike later issues, there is no mint mark on the obverse for Philadelphia-struck coins. The surface of a well-struck example gleams with metallic luster that reflects both the artistry and technological precision of U.S. mint production during the early 1970s, when coinage had fully transitioned away from silver content and toward more economical clad compositions. The reverse of the 1973 Kennedy half-dollar was designed by Frank Gasparro, who succeeded Roberts as chief engraver. Gasparro's reverse design is a modified version of the presidential seal, a powerful emblem of national sovereignty and unity. At the center, a majestic bald eagle spreads its wings wide, holding in its beak a flowing scroll that reads E pluribus unum, Latin for out of many, one. This phrase, dating back to the founding of the Republic, captures the ideal of unity among the diverse states and peoples that compose the United States. In its right talon, the eagle clutches an olive branch, symbolizing peace, while in its left talon it grasps a bundle of arrows, representing preparedness and military strength. Above the eagle's head shines a halo of 13 stars, surrounded by an arc of glory, representing the original 13 colonies. The bird is encircled by a ring of 50 smaller stars, each representing a state in the modern Union. Along the outer rim are inscribed the bold words United States of America at the top and half-dollar at the bottom, defining both the issuing nation and the coin's denomination. The reverse is meticulously detailed, with sharp feathers, deep recesses in the shield, and precise lettering that exemplify the fine craftsmanship of the era. In terms of technical specifications, the 1973 Philadelphia Kennedy half-dollar is composed of a cupronickel-clad metal structure, an outer layer of 75% copper and 25% nickel bonded to a pure copper core. This composition was introduced in 1971, replacing the earlier 40% silver alloy that had been used for circulation from 1965 to 1970. The coin weighs 11.34 grams, measures 30.6 millimeters in diameter, and has a reeded edge of 150 reeds. This structure provides durability for circulation and gives the coin its distinctive silver-gray tone, though without the intrinsic value of silver. The Philadelphia Mint produced approximately 64,964,000 half-dollars in 1973, a substantial mintage that ensured wide availability, though actual circulation was limited since half-dollars were increasingly absent from everyday commerce. Indeed, by 1973, the Kennedy half-dollar had become more a collector's and commemorative coin than a regularly used piece of currency. Most Americans preferred smaller denominations, and half-dollars were often stored in drawers, given as gifts, or retained for sentimental reasons rather than spent. The minting process of the 1973 issue reflected the technological standards of its time. The Philadelphia Mint employed high-speed coining presses capable of producing hundreds of coins per minute, striking each blank planchette with precision under immense pressure. Despite this, minor die wear, polishing marks, and strike weakness on Kennedy's hair or the eagle's breast feathers were common in circulation strikes. High-grade uncirculated coins display bright luster and well-defined features, while many examples from mint sets retain an almost proof-like appearance. The proof coin for 1973, struck at the San Francisco Mint and bearing the S mint mark, feature mirror-like surfaces and frosted reliefs achieved by special die preparation, but the Philadelphia circulation strikes remain the mainstay for collectors seeking original business strike examples. From a historical standpoint, the 1973 half-dollar emerged during a period of political and social change in the United States. The nation was still recovering from the turbulence of the Vietnam War era, and the presidency itself was in a state of transformation with the ongoing Watergate scandal. Yet the Kennedy half-dollar remained untouched by such controversies, continuing to serve as a unifying national emblem, a coin that carried a visage of a president still revered for his eloquence, youthful energy, and call to civic duty. For many Americans, it was more than money. It was a daily reminder of the ideals Kennedy championed: public service, courage, and progress. The very act of holding such a coin linked citizens to a time of aspiration, even as the decade brought uncertainty. In numismatic terms, the 1973 P. Kennedy half-dollar is not considered rare, yet its place in the series gives it enduring interest. Circulated examples are readily available at face value, but coins preserved in mint state, MS-65 or higher, are increasingly valued by collectors who seek sharply struck examples with clean fields and strong luster. The issue also holds significance because no Kennedy half dollars were released into general circulation in 1970 or 1975, making the early 1970s issues like 1973 part of a relatively small window of continuous annual circulation production. Some collectors also prize 1973 coins for their aesthetic qualities, clean designs, solid strikes, and their connection to the transition years of the series. Symbolically, the 1973 Kennedy half dollar represents the stabilization of modern U.S. coinage after a decade of adjustment following the removal of silver. The 1985 United States half dollar, better known to collectors as a 1985 Philadelphia Kennedy half dollar, represents a later chapter in one of America's most enduring and emotionally charged coin series. First introduced in 1964 as a memorial to President John Fitzgerald Kennedy, who was assassinated in November 1963, the half dollar featuring his portrait quickly transcended its status as ordinary currency to become a national icon, a token of grief, remembrance, and idealism. By the time the 1985 issue was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, the coin had already been in continuous production for over 20 years, and although it was rarely seen in daily commerce by then, it remained a beloved collectible and an emblem of modern U.S. numismatic artistry. The obverse of the 1985 Kennedy half dollar was designed by Gilroy Roberts, who served as chief engraver of the U.S. Mint when the design was first created in the aftermath of Kennedy's assassination. His portrait of the young president faces left, embodying confidence and energy with its fine sculptural detail. Kennedy's hair is modeled in deep, flowing relief, conveying vitality and movement, while his calm expression reflects dignity and resolve. Around the rim of the coin, the inscription Liberty arches prominently, with the letters spaced evenly across the upper field. The national motto, "In God We Trust," appears in two parts, "In God" to the left of Kennedy's neck and "We Trust" to the right, balanced and solemn in presentation. Below the truncation of the bust, the year of minting, 1985, is centered, and just above it lies a P mint mark, identifying its origin from the Philadelphia Mint. Earlier Philadelphia issues bore no mint mark, but beginning in 1980, the inclusion of P on circulating coins became standard practice, making the 1985 P one of the modern, fully identified Philadelphia issues in the Kennedy series. The obverse design retains a small but historically meaningful signature, the initial GR for Gilroy Roberts, placed subtly on the truncation line of the president's neck. Turning the coin over, the reverse design, created by Frank Gasparro, who succeeded Roberts as chief engraver, presents a masterful adaptation of the presidential seal of the United States. At its center, the heraldic bald eagle spreads its wings majestically, a symbol of vigilance, power, and freedom. In its right talon, the eagle clutches an olive branch, representing peace, while its left talon grasps a bundle of arrows, representing military preparedness. In its beak, the eagle holds a ribbon bearing the motto E pluribus unum, Latin for out of many, one, expressing the unity of the American states and people. A ring of 55-point stars surrounds the eagle, symbolizing each state of the Union. Above the eagle's head glows a halo of light and stars, while its chest is adorned with a striped shield symbolizing national strength. The outer inscriptions United States of America and half dollar encircle the design, completing the powerful patriotic imagery. Gasparro's design, rich in heraldic symbolism, endows the coin with both gravitas and aesthetic harmony, and it has endured with minimal modification for over 6 decades, standing as one of the most recognizable reverse designs in U.S. coinage. From a technical standpoint, the 1985 Kennedy half dollar continued the clad composition standard established in 1971. It is made of an outer layer of 75% copper and 25% nickel bonded to a pure copper core, producing a coin with a total weight of 11.34 grams and a diameter of 30.6 millimeters. The edge is reeded, a classic feature designed both for tactile recognition and anti-counterfeiting. This composition provides a silvery appearance reminiscent of older 90% silver coins, yet without the intrinsic metal value. The 1985 P had a total mintage of approximately 19,814,759 pieces, which was relatively modest compared to the heavy mintages of the 1960s and early 1970s. By the mid-1980s, the Keenedy half-dollar was minted largely for collector demand, as the denomination had long disappeared from everyday circulation. Banks rarely ordered half-dollars, and the coins were mostly distributed through mint sets and rolls purchased by collectors or hobbyists who continued to appreciate the series. The minting process of the Philadelphia Mint in 1985 employed advanced high-speed presses and refined die technology. Each planchet, blank disc of copper nickel, was carefully prepared, washed, and annealed before being struck under immense pressure by hardened steel dies bearing Roberts and Gasparo's designs. Circulation strike coins typically display a satin-like luster, though the quality of strike varied. The fine lines of Kennedy's hair and the eagle's breast feathers sometimes appear softly struck. Nonetheless, uncirculated examples from original rolls or mint sets often exhibit excellent luster and sharp definition, with brilliant surfaces free of heavy marks. The proof versions, struck at the San Francisco Mint and bearing an S mint mark, were made with specially polished dies to achieve mirror-like fields and frosted reliefs. From a numismatic perspective, the 1985p Keenedy half-dollar is considered a modern collectible rather than a rarity. Circulated examples generally hold only face value, but uncirculated coins in mint state, MS-65 or higher, can be worth a few dollars due to their condition and limited availability in pristine form. Coins graded MS-67 or MS-68 are especially prized by registry collectors who seek flawless surfaces, strong strikes, and full mint luster. Because the 1985 issue was never widely circulated, well-preserved coins exist in large numbers, but high-grade certified examples remain relatively scarce. In terms of historical context, the 1985 Keenedy half-dollar reflects an era of economic stability and changing coinage use in the United States. The early to mid-1980s were marked by a gradual decline in the public's reliance on coinage for large-value transactions. The half-dollar, once a vital denomination in commerce during the mid-20th century, had by this time become primarily a collector's coin. Most Americans used paper currency for amounts over $1, and vending machines rarely accepted the half-dollar denomination. Nevertheless, the Keenedy series continued to be struck annually to satisfy numismatic interest and uphold tradition. The design's longevity served as a quiet reminder of national pride and unity, a testament to the enduring resonance of Kennedy's legacy 2 decades after his death. The 1985 issue also exemplifies the Mint's modernization during this period. The Philadelphia Mint had recently undergone major upgrades in coin production, improving die life, planchet quality, and press precision. Coins from the mid-1980s generally show higher quality control than those from earlier decades, with sharper lettering and more consistent strike pressure. Collectors appreciate these improvements, especially when examining the fine details of Kennedy's hair and the definition in the eagle's wings and arrows. Culturally and symbolically, the 1985p Keenedy half-dollar retained all the associations that made the series beloved. It was not merely a monetary object, but a piece of history in the hand. For older generations, it recalled the shock of 1963 and the hope of 1961's inaugural promise. For younger collectors of the 1980s, it represented a tangible link to a presidential figure who continued to inspire ideals of service, courage, and innovation.